What's up, guys? Chris here. I'm back with another coach's interview. Joining me this time is the one, the only Roger, Baby Raj, Roger Rabbit Showdown, man of a couple of names. How you doing, Roger?
I'm doing pretty well, Chris. I'm doing pretty well.
All right, so Roger's deal is he got kicked up from the D League because they needed a new punching bag. People in the GBA like to punch down. So they picked a guy who's the youngest of everyone so they can easily mock and belittle him, and a
Yes.
guy who didn't do extremely well but has a positive attitude about his losses.
Yeah, I take losses very well, and I take a lot of them, so it's a good strategy.
Yeah. So I don't remember if you and I were talking about it or if it was just a thing you were posting on Twitter, but I remember at one point you saying you were really excited for next season of the D League because you were excited to go to the draft again. One, because the draft's arguably the most fun part for a lot of people, and two, because you had learned a lot from your season in the D League.
Yeah, it was just battling everyone, seeing what needed to happen. I think I kind of got a better grasp of what a good team in a league like this needs. Uh, I realize that it's kind of knowing what your opponent is doing more than preparing. You kind of need to know what your opponent is thinking, what he's doing, and then kind of work around that.
That's an interesting take on it, because a lot of people just try and build either like a team that specifically suits their play style or is a specific style that they think works for the league or like a mixture of both. Do you think going into the expansion draft and everything like that, what was your plan drafting your team? Were you going to draft a normal Roger team or was it going to be significantly different from what you would have done before your D League season?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think uh, picking my first three mons, which being Lucario, Crobat, and Noivern, I think were just kind of just me, kind of hyper offense. Put a lot of pressure on your opponent. But Noivern is a lot better than I think people kind of make it out to be. I had my eye on Noivern for the next D-League draft, and also the fact that I could get it in this draft was fantastic with its, frisk ability and all that stuff, still being able to put on offensive pressure as well. But for the other parts of my draft, I think it was more things that I'm comfortable with using that I also know I can perform well with. And then Mega Diancie, I think, was just a great pickup for a late Mega pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. So, like, we'll go straight into that then. Like, overall, how do you feel about your draft now that it's done? Like,
Uh, I feel pretty good. I feel
pretty
pretty good.
good?
I think it really kind of showed that we, as the expansion teams, didn't have the best pool after all of the other teams drafted. I think it just kind of shows in our 1 year picks. But I honestly think I can use all of my picks to good, use them well. And I really don't have a problem with anything that happened with my draft.
That's good. I know a couple of things you originally had wanted were going to get sniped and things like that, but
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
also you didn't have a wheel pick, you didn't have first picks, you were just kind of in the middle. So a
Yeah.
lot of times it was you just sitting there kind of waiting, hoping, for Miguel's two picks he didn't get what you wanted, or for Adam's two picks he didn't get what you wanted.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Miguel took a couple things from me that I would have liked to have, but such is the draft.
Yeah.
And honestly, overall, I think the expansion teams had a pretty good, showing in the draft. I don't think anyone really, fell behind at any point, and I think it was a really good draft overall.
Yeah. So you mentioned it earlier, but you had a fairly late mega pick. I think you were the third expansion team. I think
Yeah,
Adam was the
yeah.
only person after you. Uh, you picked up Mega Diancie. In my opinion, Mega Diancie is stupid good.
Mm,
Um, decent typing. Obviously, the
yeah.
quad steel weakness isn't going to be super fun, but it's not the end of the world when that's one of the few weaknesses it has going for it.
Yeah.
Um, great, offensive stats, and even just a standard, kind of smoke on set runs amazing neutral coverage and super effective coverage options.
Yeah.
Also, a thing I talked about in a couple of other videos and pointed out, the fairy pool was really shallow.
Oh
There's
yeah.
not a lot going on, especially by the time it got to you guys. I mean, Aromatisse had to go in the regular draft because
Yeah.
there just wasn't. And a lot of people in the league seem to feel like you need a fairy. I'm not sure you do, but I don't know that I've been proven wrong about that yet.
I think the whole thing about fairies is that there's so few, and people just kind of feel the need that they, like super effective fairy coverage on their team,
Yeah.
or not super effective stab fairy coverage on their team. And I think, fairies, I think in something like this are fairly valuable because they provide good coverage against, some options that would otherwise be very good, like fighting and dark.
Yeah.
But I think just having a fairy kind of relieves a little bit of pressure from your team. Just having a move like Moonblast, which is obviously very good, and other moves like that.
So, like I said, you got Mega Diancie. How you feel about that?
I feel I wasn't really sure until my mega pick came up what I'd be able to get because it's kind of impossible to predict what would fall to your position
Yeah.
when you're when you have the 13th mega pick. So it was just kind of like what's left, what can I pick? And I just saw Mega Diancie said, "Oh, I get some fairy coverage, fast offensive, pressure with some good coverage." And I thought, if no one else picked it, then I should probably pick it up.
I think it was a good pick for you. Like I said, I think, rather than scraping the bottom of the fairy barrel or something like that, or even going for, regular Diancie on your standard team, being able to scoop that up as a mega, obviously not the plan, but I think it was great fortune at the very least.
Yeah, I think so as well. I just think, I was just thinking, since there were so many good megas, there was really no way I could end up with a bad one. I mean, if you just look at the megas that were drafted, no one has a bad mega, and also looking at the fact that Mega Manectric wasn't drafted either, I mean, everyone had a chance to get a good mega, which was pretty nice.
Right, and again, while we were sitting there having the draft, I had to listen to John and Adam complain about being in the bottom.
Right.
I'm like, again, there's 40 something megas,
Hmm.
and much like you said, Mega Manectric wasn't even picked, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many good things that didn't go picked.
Hmm.
It's the one draft where I'm kind of like, all right, you guys can't complain. You
Yeah.
really can't complain. Like, if you don't draft something good, it's your own fault.
Right.
Like, it's
I.
because your team has some ridiculous hole or, you
Mhm.
just didn't think it through.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so that being said, going into it, we have the conference now and the divisions. Your division is pretty rough, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
You've got Gubs, Kote, and Danza
Yep.
in your immediate division.
uh,
What do you think about that?
I, I think that if anything, it's going to provide really good experience with, players that are in this league have shown to be very, very good. And it's just going to help me out still trying to get a whole hang of this kind of format and all that. But I think it's definitely going to be some fun games. I already have some plans for Gubs. Kote is a different story, but I think they're definitely going to be. I think definitely going into it with an open mind. I think it's going to be very fun.
So you're not afraid about being kind of thrown into the deep end here?
I mean, I won't say I never complained about it,
Oh, I know better than that.
but it is what it is. It's you can't really. I mean, I'm obviously the fourth seed and going into this, and I can't just be like, put me in another division. I don't want to lose this many times. Blah blah blah. But I definitely I don't have that many problems with how it went.
Yeah. So across from you in the same conference in the other division is Nick, Shady, Fizz, who has a way better team, and Miguel. I
Yeah.
do remember in your D-League season, once we broke down the conferences, you said, oh, well, I'm in Miguel's division. I lose.
Hmm.
Miguel is your cross-divisional rival here,
Yes.
also in the fourth seed. So how you feel about that division pairing up against you in the same conference?
Um, I don't know. I just feel playing Miguel, who has an absolutely different team than what he had before. I mean, he has a couple. I think he has one Mon that he used to have, being Al Mamola. But
Yeah, the return of Kanye.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Miguel does. Not saying Miguel's a bad player by any means, but when Miguel has access to how he drafted in the D League, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he performs with Mons that he may or may not be comfortable with.
It's a bold statement, Roger. It's a bold kind of
What can I
passive-aggressive
say?
statement. It's very casually dismissive, but it's you're still basically like, I don't think he's gonna be that great, but maybe he will be. I don't know. It's like, all right, whatever. Hedge your bets. That's fine. You don't want the man to grapple you. I get it. Whatever. He's a scary guy. All right. So that being said, how you feeling about like doing trades or anything like that? I think that's an interesting stance for you guys and it's a thing I've talked to like Adam and Miguel about on different occasions because Adam's already done trades and he's looking to do other trades, trying to move things around. Miguel, on the other hand, has seen some trade offers go up, and they're things that I know he wants, but the way he specifically drafted his team was in such a way that he can't afford to give up any of the elements because his
Right.
team is so,
Mhm.
lean and efficient. Everything has to be there for it to work, in his opinion.
Mhm.
So how do you feel about that? Like, for your draft and your season, like, are you looking to get into that aspect of it, or are you just going to try and play your best with what you've got? Like, what was your approach to it?
Well, as you know, Adam did offer me some pick trades during the draft that I didn't end up taking. But I think my team can definitely benefit from other trades, whether or not people will want them or agree to them is different.
Yeah, that
But
magneton, that's an asset.
I mean, it's Gubs better watch out. That's all I'm saying. And, but I think that definitely I'm looking for some trades. Whether or not I'm going to be so aggressive in offering trades as I am kind of listening to other people potentially wanting to trade with me might be different. But I mean, as many people know, the D League did a total of 0 trades the entire
Yes.
season. So
It's a much different pool when you get
yeah.
to pick the top 80 things in competitive play, and
Yeah. But I mean I definitely consider a lot of different trades, so I'm hoping to get into it because it's very exciting to me.
yeah, it's a different aspect. It's a different way of thinking, and it's not. You can have a malleable team. You can change things. You
Right.
can you can go and you can look at your stats halfway or a quarter of the way through the season and go, this thing isn't working for me. I thought it was good. It has value. I can convince other people it has value. But for me, it's a piece of shit doing nothing on the bench.
Right.
You
Right.
know? I'm not going to say that's going to be Embor, but
Yeah,
it
well,
might be.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Not going to say that might be Spiritomb. It might
Uh-huh.
be.
Uh-huh.
It could be. That could be
Uh-huh.
a thing. I mean, you got strong magneton presence. It's
Yeah.
fast. It's faster than zone.
It
What
is.
What you want?
It is.
Make the trade happen, Roger.
If that situation happens with Magneton and Magnezone in at the same time, that's gonna be something very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you need to convince Fizz by sweeping him with Magneton.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what you need to do. Then maybe you won't even want to trade at that point. Who knows?
That would be great.
Who knows the ramifications that could happen when baby Raj, gets his Magneton sweep. That's a real thing that could happen. Maybe.
We'll see.
All right. So that being said, Who do you want to play the least this season?
The least
Yeah, who's
out of everyone.
yeah, and it can be any reason. It doesn't necessarily have to be who you're afraid to play. Who has a play style you don't match up well against? Who has a team you don't match up well against? Who do you secretly hate and you just don't want to call them on Skype to get the match going? Whatever. I don't care.
I don't know if I have someone that I most don't want to play. However, someone who scares me a lot is Fizz with that terrifying team. Um, I mean, it's not that. I think he just has really good, synergy going with his team, really good picks overall, and then his potential of, yeah, we know he likes to trade a lot, so
So his team could be anything by the time it matches up against you.
exactly. I mean, I could have a good matchup by the time we play. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's definitely Fizz. Just because I know I've seen his matches. I know how much of a capable player he is, and
Yeah.
I'm just kind of dreading that match a little bit.
All right, who do you want to play the most?
I actually want to play Gubbs the most because me and Gubbs have a pretty good relationship going on right now, and
You guys
if
are
I
super
just
best friends.
if I just took a dump on him, it would just be great for
Yeah.
my self-esteem.
That's fair. I mean, that's a strong logistical reason. Not anything about him being like top dog or
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, it's because you like to tell him to shut up, and then it'll be funny if you beat him. That's fair. That's all of the reason you need to have, really.
Yep.
Well, all right. I think that's good enough, and that's gonna wrap it up for us. Thank you, Roger, for joining me.
Thank you, Chris, for conducting this beautiful interview.
Yeah. Sorry about all of Roger's terrible mic popping the entire
Wow.
time. It's terrible. Terrible. I apologize on behalf of him because he's a child who can't do better. But, usually when he does videos and stuff, they're way super much better than that. So go check out his channel in the description. The attitude is an accurate reflection of Roger and his intelligence. He's actually a really smart kid. Audio quality is usually better. Don't worry about it. All right. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time.